And the first question is in the name of Deputy Daly. You have 30 seconds to introduce.
Ceann Comhairle. Minister, I don't think it's an overstatement to say that there's a crisis in waste management. Multiple operators trudging up and down the same road every day to pick up the odd bin here and there. Appalling working conditions, rising prices, and you'd probably need a university degree to even work out what you're supposed to put in each particular bin. There is a desire in communities to take the service back into municipal, local or cooperative ownership. Is there any supports your department provides for that?
2 minutes.
The Waste Management Act 1996 as amended and the Waste Management Collection Permit Regulations of 2007 as amended set out the regulatory framework for the collection of waste in the state. The obligations on local authorities in relation to collecting household waste are set out in Section 33 of the Waste Management Act of 1996 as amended. In summary, it provides that each local authority shall collect or arrange for the collection of household waste within its functional area. The obligation to collect or arrange for the collection of waste shall not apply if there is adequate waste collection service available in the local authority's function area. The estimated costs of the collection of waste would, in the opinion of the local authority, be unreasonably high, or the local authority is satisfied that adequate arrangements for the disposal of waste conserved can be reasonably met by the holder of the waste. It is open to any organisation, commercial enterprise or local community group to apply for a waste collection permit to the National Waste Collection Permit Office, which is the nominated authority to issue permits on behalf of all local authorities, should they wish to collect household waste in the state. In addition, and depending on the scale of the planned operation, it may also be necessary to apply to the relevant local authority and/or the Environmental Protection Agency for a waste facility permit or licence for the storage and/or sorting of waste. As Minister, I do not provide any supports to any organisation, commercial or community-based, to facilitate the establishment of waste collection services. As the Deputy may be aware, the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission is currently conducting an independent study on the operation of the household waste collection market. The ongoing results from the Price Monitoring Group, in conjunction with the study being undertaken by the CCPC, will provide an evidence base for future policy decisions in relation to the household waste market. And just finally to say to Deputy Daly, I accept the point that you make regarding the confusion regarding what goes into which bin. And as of the end of last year, we actually have now a uniform list of what actually goes into your recycling bin, and that is available. We have been running campaigns on that. So whether you're in Cork, Fingal, Roscommon or Cavan, the exact same material goes into your green recycling bin.
Deputy Daly has 1 minute.
Spend the rest of the days debating the issues that are not on any of those lists and the confusion that arises. But I think the point I'm trying to get at is that we need to be a bit creative. I'm not talking about the responsibilities of the local authority per se, but the attitude of the local community, and particularly from the point of view of a cooperative basis. I mean, last year, myself alongside a good community activist in my own area of Swords, where I live, Dean Mulligan, conducted a survey of an area of about 2,000 households who were not impressed with the bin service, who were sick of the different bin companies going up and down their roads, and a desire, well over 90%, to buy in to a cooperative type venture where they would run their own service locally, just serving their estate with their own local labour, which they would control on a cooperative basis. To me, in this area of climate change, with our emissions targets and particularly the amount of trucks even on the roads, not to mind cost and value, surely that is something that your department could play a role in, of not necessarily subsidising, but actually stepping in and giving some form of direction and assistance in. Because to me, from a climate change point of view, not to mind waste management, starting local and keeping it local is actually the best for the environment and best for the consumer and the workers potentially as well.
Minister, 1 minute.
Look, I hear what Deputy Daly says. First of all, we're open to any suggestions or ideas that can reduce the generation of waste in the first place, and I think that has to be the #1 priority. The difficulty is with your suggestion, Deputy Daly, is that the logistical cost involved in collecting waste, segregating, managing waste for 2,000 houses would make it very, very expensive on those particular 2,000 homes. As you know, we have only 4 landfills in the country. We've gone from 24 in the last decade. By the end of this year, we'll be down to 3 landfills in the country. My priority as Minister is to try and minimise the amount of waste that's going into landfill. I think try and reduce the generation of it in the first place, but where it's generated, to make sure that it does not go into landfill. That requires a scale in relation to the segregation of waste, not just in relation to the green waste and separating that, but also the brown waste bin and the residual black waste bin, segregating that to minimise the amount of material that's going into landfill.
Reduction is the key, and in actual fact, in that sense, householders are small change, because by and large householders are waste receivers, not really waste producers. And if we want to tackle waste, we've got to tackle the businesses and the agricultural sector. But I'm just stealing, and I fully accept that what I'm putting forward is not a solution for you as the Minister to the national waste problem. However, it is potentially a solution in some areas. And the example we moved ourselves in Independence for Change, moved a bill before the summer in developing cooperatives earlier in the year, making it easier for people to establish cooperatives. And for example, the Magpie Recycling Co-op in Brighton began with 3 volunteers collecting cans and glass in their locality, expanded into collecting recyclable materials such as old furniture and so on, to providing a service to 2,000 houses. It engages people, maybe people who are not working, people who are retired, people reusing material in the local economy. Is there not something there that you could look at piloting? Obviously, something like that would have to feed into a grid in terms of some of the waste disposal, but certainly in terms of footprint for trucks, an initiative on the ground, I think as a pilot it could point a really good way forward.
To say to Deputy Daly, regarding what you've just outlined to me, we're quite open to exploring the possibilities in relation to that. As I say, look, my objective here is to keep material out of landfill, and anything that can do that is very positive. Specifically on the waste generation, can I say that important work is being undertaken by some of Ireland's leading agri-food businesses to reduce unnecessary plastic packaging in the food supply chain. I hope to make an announcement on an initiative shortly. The companies involved, which represent significant but different elements of the food processing sector, will use their collective power and food production experience to eliminate single-use plastic packaging from the supply chain and replace it with new, more sustainable alternatives, which I know we will all welcome in our supermarkets and shops. So to specifically address the other aspect of your question, we are trying to focus on reducing the generation of the waste in the first place, and then trying to look at novel solutions to divert that waste away from landfill and other forms of disposal, and encourage reuse. And of course next month is Reuse Month, and I would encourage all colleagues here to participate in the local initiatives in their own local authority area and encourage participation among the public.
We move to question 48.